The grocery store was packed that Saturday afternoon, carts bumping into each other and people sighing in long lines. Everyone was tired but patient, except one woman. She stormed past everyone with her overflowing cart, ignoring the people waiting quietly. "Excuse me," she shouted, waving her hand dramatically. "I'm in a hurry." The cashier froze for a moment, unsure how to respond, as the customers behind stared in disbelief. The woman's name was Karen, and she acted like she owned the place. A young mother with a toddler in her arms spoke softly. "Ma'am, we've all been waiting. Please, the line starts back there." Karen turned sharply, glaring. "Do you know who I am? I live in the Lakeside HOA community. I don't wait behind anyone." Her voice dripped with arrogance. The mother looked down, embarrassed, while people exchanged uncomfortable glances. Just then, a calm voice came from the back of the line. "You can't use where you live as a badge of power," the man said, stepping forward. He looked like an ordinary shopper, quiet, dressed simply, but his tone carried weight. Karen scoffed. "Mind your business, old man." He smiled slightly. "It is my business when someone thinks rules don't apply to them." Everyone fell silent. Even the cashier stopped scanning items. Karen rolled her eyes. "What are you going to do, call security?" "Go ahead, I know the manager." The man just stared at her, a faint smirk forming. "You might want to rethink that," he said calmly. The way he said it made the whole store pause. Something about his confidence didn't fit his humble look. Karen crossed her arms, trying to hold her ground, but a flicker of doubt crossed her face. The cashier looked between them, uncertain whether to speak. Then the man reached for his wallet slowly and said something that made everyone lean closer. "Let's settle this the right way." She slammed her overflowing shopping cart into the line, pretending not to see the dozen people waiting. "Excuse me," she said loudly. "I'm in a hurry. This will just take a second." The old man in front of her gave a polite smile, trying not to cause trouble, but the cashier looked uneasy. Everyone else exchanged looks. They all knew that tone. A mother whispered to her son, "Don't stare," as Karen kept pushing forward, stacking her cart against the counter. The cashier finally spoke. "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but there's a line." Karen scoffed. "Do you know who I am? I'm on the HOA board. I don't wait like everyone else." The room went quiet. The old man she had pushed past just nodded calmly, still holding a few groceries in his shaky hands. Karen rolled her eyes. "You should be home, Grandpa. Let me handle this." The cashier looked torn between speaking up or staying silent. But then the old man said softly, "You must really think you're above everyone, don't you?" Karen laughed sarcastically. "Sweetheart, I run half this neighborhood. People know not to mess with me." She turned to swipe her card, only to see someone step forward from behind her. A man in a simple black jacket, quiet but firm, said, "Funny thing, I know exactly who you are." Karen frowned. "Oh yeah? And who are you supposed to be?" He smiled slightly. "Let's just say, I'm the reason your HOA meeting got canceled last week." Karen blinked, confused. "What do you mean, canceled? That meeting was private." The man chuckled softly. "Private? You posted the notice on everyone's doors without permission, including mine." Her face froze. "Wait, you live in Lakeside?" she asked, her voice suddenly quieter. "Lived there longer than you," he replied calmly, his eyes fixed on hers. "And unlike you, I actually pay attention to the rules you love to twist." The people in line started whispering. Karen's confidence began to slip, but she tried to cover it up. Listen, I don't have time for this nonsense. My husband's waiting in the car. Actually, the man interrupted, your husband was the one who filed that complaint against your HOA board last month. The air in the store went heavy. Karen's face turned red. That's a lie, she shouted, but her voice cracked slightly. The cashier stood still, holding a pack of bread halfway to the scanner. Ma'am, maybe you should step aside, she said gently. Karen spun around. You stay out of this, she snapped. But the man didn't move. He took out his phone and said calmly, before you dig yourself deeper, you should know, I'm the HOA inspector for this district. And I've been watching your board for weeks. The entire store gasped. Karen's hand froze on the cart handle. You're lying, she stammered. Am I? He said, holding up his phone. On the screen was a photo. Her, standing in front of a house with a violation notice she had illegally placed. Her lips trembled as she whispered, You can't expose me like that. Oh, I'm not exposing you, he said with a faint grin. You're doing that yourself. Karen's face drained of color as the photo glared back at her from the man's phone. The whispers in the store grew louder. People pulling out their own phones, recording what was happening. This can't be real, Karen muttered, stepping back. You're not allowed to record me. I'll sue every one of you. The man didn't flinch. Sue them? For seeing the truth? His voice was calm, but it hit like thunder. You've been bullying half the neighborhood, sending fake fines, harassing seniors, and locking people out of the community pool. You even threatened a veteran for painting his own fence. Karen's eyes darted around, desperate for support, but all she saw were cold stares. You don't understand, she stammered. I was just trying to keep the neighborhood clean. By humiliating your neighbors, he asked, taking a step closer. By towing people's cars and pretending it was official business? Her jaw clenched. They broke the rules. Rules you made up, he cut in sharply. You used the HOA to feed your ego, but now everyone sees it. The cashier folded her arms. I live in Lakeside too, she said quietly. You told me to move my car last month, in front of my own apartment. Karen's mouth fell open, speechless. The crowd wasn't on her side anymore. The man sighed and spoke softly. You've hurt a lot of good people, Karen. But you picked the wrong day to play queen. A strange silence followed, until the sound of a phone ringing broke it. The man looked at his screen, smiled faintly, and said, Looks like the board finally approved the investigation. Karen blinked, trembling. Investigation? What investigation? He slipped the phone back in his pocket, the one that might cost you your position and your house. Karen's breath caught in her throat. You can't do that. She whispered, her voice shaking. I'm the one who runs that neighborhood. The man tilted his head slightly. Not anymore. The homeowners voted you out last week. You just didn't read the notice because, well, you tore it off my neighbor's door. The people around her gasped, phones still recording. Karen took a step back, bumping into her cart. This is insane. You people don't understand how much work I've done. I made that place beautiful. Her voice cracked between anger and panic. The man nodded slowly. You made it fearful. People were afraid to park, afraid to speak up, afraid to live in their own homes. The young mother with the toddler finally spoke, her voice steady. You told my husband he couldn't build a ramp for our son. Do you remember that? Karen froze again. That was a policy. No, the man interrupted. That was you. The store fell silent once more. Karen's eyes darted around, searching for even one person to back her up, but no one did. Not this time. The man sighed and placed a small badge on the counter. Mark Turner, HOA Ethics Officer. I've been gathering statements for months, and you just confessed right here. Karen's jaw dropped. You set me up, she screamed. You all did. Mark looked at her calmly. No one set you up, Karen. You just finally met someone who doesn't bow to your fake authority. Her hands trembled as she grabbed her purse. This isn't over, she said, glaring at him. Mark's expression didn't change. You're right, he replied. It's not, because next time you'll be the one waiting in line, just like everyone else. And as she stormed out of the store, humiliated, people started to clap. Slowly at first, then louder, until the entire line joined in.